When it comes to Hollywood and movies, you can never really count anyone out. No one actually thought Robert Downey Jr. would come back to Marvel Studios playing Doctor Doom. Although, sure, there were theories out there for a long time. Sure, some scooper can make out they said it first. But realistically, a theory and having factual evidence and putting receipts out there is completely different. No one thought that James Gunn could come back from the alleged weird behavior, weird tweets that led to Disney firing him, rehiring him, and then he's now co-head of DC Studios. No one assumed that. No one actually ever thought that Henry Cavill would return and we would get to see the additional scenes in the Zack Snyder Justice League. No one actually thought that he would shoot for the Flash movie. No one actually thought we'd get the 5-second confrontation between Black Adam and Superman. Why am I saying this? Because anything is possible in Hollywood, even if there is legal court cases going on. The whole Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp case when Disney fired him for literally no reason, because it turns out in court, Johnny Depp won on the legal system. Why am I saying this? Because recently something on the Jonathan Majors court case, the civil case, has been overturned because potentially they've most likely settled out of court. So could Marvel and Disney bring him back? Well, for continuity, they really can't do Avengers Doomsday justice without at least bringing him back for some additional scenes. So, yo, what is good, YouTube? Warstu here. If you are new around, make sure to subscribe to never miss any of the Marvel DC Kaiju Monsterverse pop culture-based content that I try to deliver on a daily basis. If you could, subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on, and let me know, do you want Kang to come back? No, don't get me mistaken. I'm not saying Kang should actually be the main big bad over Doom. I'm saying in terms of continuity, in terms of the storyline that was set up during Loki Season 1, Loki Season 2, the Kang Wars, and apparently Doctor Doom, played by Robert Downey Jr., is from a universe that was happening before Kang Wars, and they're just trying to get back to the MCU sacred timeline. In terms of continuity, it ain't going to be half as good as Kang doesn't get explained fully. Also, check us out on Instagram at Warstu to see the beautiful face behind the beautiful voice, and check us out on Twitter, WarstuG. Right, let's get into it. So as we know, Jonathan Majors lost in court due to a misdemeanor. Realistically, if you look what was said, Majors was accused of assaulting her in the back of a seat of a private car after she took his phone to read a message he received from another woman. Alleged that Majors forcefully took his phone back and caused her injury. Misdemeanor. Didn't go to jail. Interesting. So recently it's come out that Jonathan Majors' ex-girlfriend Grace has now dismissed a federal law suit, although it's very important that this is a civil case, not a criminal case, against Majors, filed in March 2022 of the accused actor of assault and defamation. So the civil case has been overturned only. So what does this mean? It means they've most likely settled out of court. There's no reason for them to actually publicly say why that is the case. But it is interesting that Marvel was so quick, not quite as quick as the Johnny Depp case to fire him. They had to wait for the court case to play out, and then they got rid of him. And it was very clear because basically every scooper was making stuff up. They were going back and forth of, no, there's a plan for Kang. No, there isn't. Yes, there is. I mean, scoopers are still saying now that there is a plan to bring Kang back at some point. But realistically, no one knew anything. And they realistically did a 160,000 degree turn when they brought Robert Downey Jr. back. But as we found out, Robert Downey Jr. would only return under the prerequisite, the condition, the Russo brothers return. Because that tells me Robert Downey Jr. does not trust other directors to handle something on this scale. So what does this mean? It means realistically, as we found out in Loki Season 2, literally the ending scene, the Kangs are still out there. The Kangs are part of the multiversal storyline that was set up massively. They're not going to raise the whole multiversal storyline now because they're shifting to a Doctor Doom storyline with Avengers Doomsday, which they're most likely going to be setting up during the Fantastic Four movie. They have to still address the Kang storyline. Even if it's just a case of Doctor Doom wipes out all the Kangs, the council of the Kangs. Because we know based on the information out there, there was huge plans. But after Ant-Man 3, Marvel weren't very confident in the whole Kang plan. But we're still in that same multiversal saga. So they can't exactly erase everything. Now, we know originally Marvel had plans to include Kang in the Deadpool and Wolverine mid-credit scene, which actually involved the Council of Kangs discovering the location of Shang-Chi's 10 rings and Miss Marvel's bands, which is interesting. So we know there was a massive, we've covered it in a different video, there was a massive setup for how Kang, more of a backstory, how Deadpool and Wolverine would have actually made a lot more sense if it actually had something going forward with the multiversal storyline. Now, we know the Doctor Doom storyline came late, even though they announced RDJ literally 2 days after the public release of Deadpool and Wolverine. There's still got to be some connective tissue. Would they do this? I believe they would, because Josh Brolin met up with RDJ and the Russo brothers recently. They've literally shown it. They're making a King Thanos ride at Disneyland. He's going to have to feature in some capacity in this multiversal storyline. Otherwise, the King Thanos ride is not going to be half as important. Why am I saying this? Because anybody can return to the Marvel Cinematic Universe if the money is right. So realistically, even if Kang isn't going to have a vocal point, now we've heard multiple storylines for multiple different variations of Avengers 5. We've heard a version where there's going to be a gang of villains, including the likes of Ultron, King Thanos, Warstu, the Null, the god of the symbiote, which makes no sense because he's stuck on Clintar and there's no codex. So that would basically retcon the whole of Venom 3. You never know. Kang could have been working with Doctor Doom before we knew any of this stuff. Because remember, Doctor Doom was supposed to be behind everything in Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, but they shifted because of you-know-what. Kang could have been working with Doom. One of them could have screwed the other. There is so much they can add if they want to. Realistically, does the public really care about this misdemeanor? No, not really. There's been so much worse things happen in Hollywood in terms of court case, and they've still gone on to basically keep the same role. Now, I know I may get some negativity for what I'm just saying, but realistically, I'm not saying scrap the Doctor Doom storyline. They're not going to do that. They have literally changed the ending of Deadpool and Wolverine. They have changed the title to Avengers Doomsday. We know Doom is the overall villain, but it still doesn't feel right to me because Doom is a Fantastic Four villain. I mean, sure, he has kind of been an Avengers villain, but predominantly he's known for being a Fantastic Four villain. So rehire Majors just so there is some connective tissue, because they could bring the whole Iron Lad storyline. There's if they wanted to bring the Iron Lad storyline and do it that way, there is so many ways they can do it. And obviously, Jonathan Majors' former ex-girlfriend dropping the court case for reasons could be to sell out of court. If she've dropped the court case, then realistically, does she think it's bad anymore? Maybe not. She might have been paid off allegedly. We don't know. We don't know the reason. They don't have to explicitly say the reason. But he is a very talented actor. Avengers Doomsday would be strengthened tenfold if Kang was actually brought back. I mean, realistically, they could bring him back in Phase 7 in 2028 if they really wanted to. I mean, it's just a civil court case that's done with. The misdemeanor still stands. Disney rehired James Gunn. There's been multiple instances where this has been the case. So should they bring Kang back? Yes, for continuity, because they spent so much time with Loki, with Ant-Man. And of course, if the storyline is true, that the Fantastic Four and Doctor Doom are from the same place where they are originally from, the sacred timeline, the 616, and they were sucked somewhere else, and this was pre the Kang War, the multiversal war, Doom's always been around with Kang. So it makes more sense to put them in the same movie, and that would make it so much better, because a lot of people know who Kang is, and it would be cool to have multiple villains. We know this is going to be the case for Secret Wars. Why not throw some kind of backstory into Avengers Doomsday, even if it's like Doom screwing over Kang, or Kang screwing over Doom, so Doom just kills all the Council of Kang. And after that sick post-credit scene in Ant-Man 3 with the Council of Kangs, We need to see some big freaking payoff, even if they're just killed off. I think Marvel and Disney have a freaking awesome opportunity now to make the wrong a right and finish that storyline, even if they do rush it and just, you know, kill them off. They can do it on screen because no one likes an off-screen killing. And now the civil case has been dropped. It would not look bad on Disney PR if that was the case. So like always, guys, let us know down below. What do you think of this? Do you think they should bring Kang back? And a lot of people have already said before this civil case was dropped by the accusee that Kang has to show up at some point for continuity. The thing with all these Marvel movies is they've got to connect. Kang was always there from what they've told us. So we've got to see him at least once more in person and not just spoken about and not just killed off screen, because let's not do a DC now. So like always, guys, let us know everything you think down below. Really excited to hear what you guys think. Thank you very much for all the love and support that you've sent me recently, guys. I do appreciate it. So like always, guys, I'll catch you in another video very soon, guys. Catch you later.